friends, welcome to Love Your Vibe. My name is Felicia Jean and I am a work-at-home wife and mom. I have been a sexual health educator since 2006. I've been going into women's homes and educating them on intimate health for a long time. And what I found is that women have a lot of questions. Women have a lot of questions about their bodies and questions about their sexual health. So my hope with this channel is to offer you a little bit of information and to teach you to love your vibe. Today we are going to talk about the sexual response cycle. One of my favorite things to educate women on is how their bodies react during intimacy. So how your mind and your body respond during intimacy. Now, if you've ever researched the sexual response cycle, there are actually a lot of different theories. There's a lot of different models of the sexual response cycle. There's a 3-phase model, there's a 5-phase model, there's a 7-phase model. I like to focus on the 3-phase model because it's just a little bit more simple. So that model is desire, arousal, orgasm. When we talk about desire, arousal, and orgasm, this is how your mind and body are responding to intimacy. So desire is the want. Desire is the wanting to be intimate. So whether that's wanting to be intimate with yourself, wanting to be intimate with a partner, desire is your sex drive, it's your libido. And this is the #1 challenge that I talk with women about. It's the #1 challenge because a lot of things can actually affect your sex drive and affect your desire. Medications can affect desire. If you're on birth control, if you're taking antidepressants or any mood altering drug, it can absolutely affect your desire. If you've had stress in your life, which I'm sure none of you have ever had any stress in your life, but stress can absolutely cause a decline in desire or a change in desire. The other thing that I talk with people a lot about is mismatched desire. So it's really rare to be in a relationship with someone and to be with somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you feel safe with, that you feel connected to, and then to have the exact same sex drive, to have the exact same desire. Usually one person has a little bit higher desire, or it fluctuates throughout your life if you've been with somebody for a really long time. So desire is this really interesting thing that I talk with women about, and that can be a challenge. So the second phase of the response cycle is super important, and that is arousal. And this is your body's physical response to being aroused. So a lot of different things can happen during arousal. The nipples can get hard, blood starts rushing throughout your entire body, so your skin is more sensitive to touch. You can get erections, so clitoral erections, penile erections, the labia swell. When your heart is beating and rushing blood throughout your entire body, there's also less of it in your brain, so you lose inhibition. You're like, stick it anywhere, right? You're more likely to be more relaxed and to have more fun than to try new things when you're in a really heightened aroused state. So all of these things are happening. Now, if you have a vagina, there's another thing that's happening on the inside of the body, and this is so important, and I think that more people need to know about this. It is called vaginal tenting. Vaginal tenting is when the vagina actually expands and relaxes a little to allow for more comfortable penetration. So the average unaroused vagina is only about 3 inches deep, but once fully aroused, they can expand up to 6 inches. That takes an average of 12 to 20 minutes. It does not happen instantly. You don't think about being intimate and your vagina goes, bam, bam, I'm ready. That's not how it happens. It takes some time, and it takes some warming up, and it takes some foreplay. So if you have a vagina, give yourself permission to have some of that play. Those 12 to 20 minutes are crucial. So arousal is your body's physical response. And then orgasm. Orgasm is the peak of sexual satisfaction, right? So the rush, the climax, and then you come down from that. So desire, arousal, orgasm. I think it's also really important to note that it doesn't have to be in that order. You don't have to have desire to be aroused to have an orgasm. As a matter of fact, there are people in this world who can orgasm in under 30 seconds using nothing but their hand. Props to you. That's amazing. There are also people who can think themselves into an orgasm, so they don't have to have that desire, they don't have to have the arousal, they can literally just use their powerful, amazing brain and think themselves into an orgasm. Also, think about a time when you weren't in the mood. Maybe you weren't in the mood, but then you had some consensual touching and tickling and nibbling and kissing or some massage, so you jumped right into the arousal part, and then halfway through that arousal, your brain kicked in and you were like, oh, wait a minute, I did want to do this. Or afterwards, sometimes you think, why don't we do this more often, right? So sometimes it takes kickstarting that engine to actually have the desire. I think this is especially important when we talk about couples who have been together for a really long time. If you've been with somebody for a really long time, sometimes it gets to roommate status. Sometimes the only thing that you're talking about is what you're gonna have for dinner the next day or what your plans are for the next week, and we forget to connect and talk about sexy things. And so the desire isn't there, but there's something that you can do. So you can skip that desire and move right into arousal. So actually take the time and make the time, go on a date, have some foreplay, have some fun, and kickstart that engine so that you can get that sexual response cycle in check. So I hope that this was really helpful information for you. I hope that you take the time to explore your own body and figure out what feels good for you. It is so crucially important to know your own body. It is very, very important to know your own body because everybody is different. Everybody experiences things differently. Everybody has different hot spots, different erogenous zones, and you don't know what feels good unless you try. You don't know what feels good for you. You also can't tell someone how to get somewhere if you've never been there yourself. So I encourage you to explore your body. I encourage you to figure out what feels good for you. Touch and tickle every inch of your body to find your hot spots and erogenous zones. Fingertips, toes, eyelids, and even armpits. Everything could be a hot spot. Leave nothing untouched. And that's all for the sexual response cycle.